About to get started in a minute. Let me, I guess I shared my little thing a couple times. Where are we at here? Oh, here we go. I'll share it to mine. And then I'll share a couple, there's a couple groups. I don't spend too much time sharing. I only got like 5 people watching me anyway, but let's see what we got. I'll hit that one, and let me hit a couple. I guess I'll hit that one. I know some people over there. Yeah, maybe that one. Should be able to show my face. And that's oh yeah, one more. Slovakia. I got one more to do. Let me how do I do this? Yeah, I'm not good with this internet stuff. Give me one more minute. Jump off of there. I gotta do this one. Over here. Blah, blah, blah. Uh-oh. Oh, there I am. And I gotta share that one. Bam. Okay. So hold on a minute. Oops. Let me go back. Log out of that one. Log back into this one. Just so I can maybe see some comments or something. So we got, who got on here? We got Niam's on here, and we got Might and Na. Oh, my 2 regulars. So I decided to do this class because I know Mother's Day came, and I know they had a lot of scripture breakdown on Mother's Day. I know the women took a beating this weekend. It was being some crazy stuff, so we're going to talk about the virtuous woman. I mean, I know we have a habit in the UPK of always talking negative about women. I mean, the women, need to hear some positive stuff too. So we're going to get into this. Now, before I start, of course, we're going into Proverbs 31, but before we start that, I want to read Proverbs 12 and 4. And Proverbs 12 and 4 reads, "A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness to his bones." So if you're a woman that makes your husband ashamed, you're like rottenness. But, of course, there's a good sign, is a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband. Now, what's kind of interesting, when I get into the virtuous woman, before I get into it, I know there's a scripture that says a man, I'm going to paraphrase. It says a man who doesn't provide doesn't provide for his family is an infidel. But the thing is, on that scripture, it doesn't go into detail of what it means for him to provide. It just says provide. It doesn't expound on what that actually means, or what it doesn't give detailed point by point what that means. However, when you get to the virtuous woman, it goes point by point and explains what a virtuous woman's duties and expectations are. Now, when you get into a virtuous woman, it starts off on 31 and 10, Proverbs 31 and 10, and it reads, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." Now, before we get into this, you have to know that was verse 10. But if you go up to the beginning on verse 1, you'll see, well, I'm going to read it first. So Proverbs 31 and 1, I just read Proverbs 31 and 10, just part of it. But when you jump up to Proverbs 31 and 1 at the very beginning, this is what a lot of people don't really get or don't know. It says, the words of King Lemuel. These are his words, okay? Because as we read it, a lot of times, that's what men say. Men are the ones who are saying this, and of course, they're going to say this. But the problem is with that theory is it says the words of King Lemuel. So King Lemuel wrote this. However, if you keep on reading verse 1, it says the prophecy that his mother taught him. These things that the virtuous woman is what his mother taught him. The virtuous woman, the whole idea of virtuous woman and everything that's in it comes from his mother. His mother taught him this. This is a mother teaching her son what to look for in a woman. This ain't just men talking. This is a woman, a mother telling her son. This is her prophecy that his mother taught him. His mother taught him this when he was a child. This is what his mother taught him. And he's just going to keep talking. So when you go to verse 2, it says, what, my son? And what? The son of my womb. And what? The son of my vows. Verse 3, give not thy strength unto a woman. This is what his mother tells his son. Give not thy strength unto a woman, nor thy ways that which destroyeth kings. So King Lemuel's mother is telling him, her son, do not give your strength unto a woman. Okay, I'm just showing you, this is a woman talking. This is a woman's prophecy, teaching her son this. So we're going to jump. I just want to iterate that this is where the Proverbs 31 is coming from. It's not coming from a man, even though King Lemuel wrote this, but he's writing what his mother taught him. These things his mother taught him. I want to make that clear. I want to make that perfectly clear before we continue on. So we go to Proverbs 31 and 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? So obviously, a virtuous woman is hard to find. A lot of men have wives. Are they all virtuous? Evidently, they can't be, because a virtuous woman is hard to find. She's hard to find. That means basically, what, 1 in a million, 1 in 1,000? I don't know how many, but she's supposed to be hard to find, which means the majority of the women are not virtuous, because she's hard to find. You got to really search for this person. For her price is far above rubies. Verse 11, the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her. So her husband's heart trusts her. He trusts her. And we all know it's hard to find somebody you can trust. We all know that. Just from being out there, and, unless you're like a teenager, you may not know that, but it's hard to find somebody you can, at your heart, can really trust. You gotta, but this is for a man looking for this woman that his heart can really trust her. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need for spoil. And of course, we know spoil means going out and taking stuff, robbing. He don't need to rob, he don't need to steal. That's what spoil is. When you're spoiling, usually during war, you conquer and you take all their stuff, and that's the spoils. It's like the spoils of war. He says he has no need to spoil. He don't have to go out and conquer and steal. He don't have to do that. He don't have to go out and sell drugs. He don't have to go out and steal and have scams and schemes and scams. He don't have to do that. Verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. All the days she'll do him good and not evil, which means she'll never do evil to him. Again, this is a mother telling her son. She will do him good, not evil, all the days of her life. That's until she's dead. She will not do any evil to him. And as men, we know that's hard to find because, when women get mad, they do evil. They do evil to you. And then when it's too late, when they destroy everything, then it's like, oh, I'm sorry. That happens over and over. And I got, I could go into different stories about that, but I'm not going to go into that. We're just going to read the scriptures. Verse 13, she seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She willingly goes and works. You don't have to force her to work. She willingly does it. She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She goes out and she brings food. She's a virtuous woman. Are you a virtuous woman? Do you do these things? Do you willingly go out and work? Do you willingly bring home food, or you just sit back and wait for your husband to bring everything and pay all the bills? She riseth also while it is yet night. She's getting up early in the morning. It's still dark outside. She's getting up in the morning while it's still dark. And giveth meat to her household. What's her household? Everybody that's in the house. That includes her husband, the kids, the dog, the goldfish, the whole entire house, whatever servant you have in there, or whatever you have in there. I guess they call them concubines. You might have a servant that comes in there, somebody that's that's renting a room or whatever. It says she riseth also in the night. She rises also while it is yet night. So she gets up early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. She's getting up 6 o'clock in the morning, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. That's the word, her maidens. That's what she gives. I was thinking concubine is her maidens. That's the young women she has with her. You might be living in the house. She considereth a field and buyeth it. She's buying property. She considers that field and she buys it. Where'd she get the money to buy it? Is she going to asking her husband for the money? That's why it says it's hard. It says in 10, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. They're hard to find. She considereth the field and buyeth it. What did she use for money? With the fruit of her hands she planted a vineyard. So she planted a vineyard, and with the fruit of her hands, that's what she's using. She's out there making money. And she used her money that she made, the fruit of her hands, what she worked for. She goes out and buys property. That's a virtuous woman. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengthen her arms. I guess that means she goes to the gym, works out. I don't know. She girdeth her loins with strength. And strengthen her arms. She's strong. She's not no little weakling. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her merchandise is the thing that she makes, that she sells. Her merchandise is good. Her candles goeth not out by the night. So when it's nighttime, she gets up early in the morning while it's still dark. And when it gets dark at night, she's still working. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. What is distaff? Holds the distaff. We got to look that word up. What is that? And her... Okay, I know what a spindle is. That's where they make the spindles where she's making her own clothes. Her hands hold the distaff. We got to look that word up. Distaff. I don't know what that word is. Let's look that word up. Distaff. Hold on a second. Let's look that word up. Let's see. Define distaff. Distaff. A stick or spindle onto which wool or flax is wound for spinning. So it's part of the making the clothing. Where was he at? And her hands hold the distaff. So I guess it's part of when you're making your clothing and making your fabric. I guess it's something you got to hold. So she's actually making, you know what? I think it's the thing where they have the I'm not exactly sure how they make fabric, but I know there's a thing that you pull down. You have threads going this way, and you got threads going that way, and I think you pull it down and pull down. I think that's the distaff. I'm not positive. You may want to look that up. But that's what she does. She's working. She's making her own fabric. Because back in those days, you had to make your own fabric. You just couldn't go down to Joann's and get some fabric. They was making their fabrics. Verse 20. She stretches out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. So she helps the poor and she helps the needy because she's making money from all the things that she's making. She's got a field. She's got a vineyard. She's making clothes. She's making the other things that she's making. She's bringing food. She's making her own money. Verse 18. No, we already did 18. Verse 21. She is not afraid of the snow for her household. So she goes out in the snow and works. She's out in the snow, 5 o'clock in the morning. Out in the snow, put some boots on. She's out there in the snow. She's not afraid of the snow for her household. For all her household are clothed in scarlet. So her household, because of her, they got nice clothes. All the kids are dressed nice. The husband's dressed nice. Everybody's dressed nice. Her maidens are dressed nice. They're clothed in scarlet. Because she's out there 5 o'clock in the morning in the snow. Working. Making money. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. So she's dressed nice too. She's dressed nice. She ain't just walking around looking all bummy. She's working and looking good. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. So the gates are where the elders are at. Her husband is known. Among the gates, because he has this virtuous woman that's doing all these things and helping him. She maketh fine linen and selleth it. So I just told you how they make the fabric. She makes the linen and she sells it. She's selling the fabric that she's making. That's what that spindle and that distaff comes in at. She's making fabric. And she goes out and sells it. And delivereth girdles unto the merchant. So she's actually creating and making stuff to sell. She's out there and she goes to the merchants and sell. She's making things and going out and selling it. Making things and going out and selling it. That's what she's doing. Strength and honor are her clothing. Strength, she's a strong woman. And honor, she's honorable. Nobody's saying anything bad about her. She has honor. And she shall rejoice in time to come. Basically, she'll get the last laugh. She's going to rejoice when that time comes. She's going to rejoice. She openeth her mouth with wisdom. She ain't gossiping, talking stupid stuff. She ain't with all the sisters talking a bunch of nonsense. When she talks, she has wisdom when she talks. She ain't gossiping some garbage. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She's kind to everybody. She don't have evil things to say to about everything. You know, you got some women, everything come out their mouth is some vile evilness, talking about somebody. She don't do that. When she opens her mouth, there's wisdom comes out of her mouth. Everything comes out of her mouth is wise. And her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. I mean, she's never idle. She's always working, always doing something. You never see her just sitting around on the couch eating bonbons. She's always working, always doing something. She's never idle. From 5 o'clock in the morning till it's dark at night, she's still doing something. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her children, they rise up and praise her, call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Her kids praise her. Her husband praises her. She's praised by her family. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excelleth them all. So you have, well, obviously, I thought there wasn't that many because it said how many you can find. But here on verse 29, it says, many daughters have done virtuously, but you want to excel all of them. You want to be the most virtuous. Because the king, of course, King Lemuel, he wants the most virtuous because he's the king. He wants the most virtuous woman. He doesn't want average virtuous. He wants the most virtuous. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. So if you're favored, that's deceitful. Because everybody likes you, that don't mean nothing. That's deceitful. And beauty is vain. If you're just pretty, that's vain. That don't mean nothing. Whether everybody likes you and you're the life of the party, you're the most popular one. That's deceitful. Being the popular is deceitful. And it says, beauty is vain. So you can be pretty and be the most wickedest one around, the most laziest one. Beauty don't mean nothing. It's if you're virtuous or not. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. What does it mean to fear the Lord? Means you're afraid to break the commandments. You're afraid to break the precepts, the statutes, the commandments. You're afraid of what the Lord will do to you. That's what it means to be afraid of the Lord. So favor, because you're the most popular one, that's deceitful. Beauty, that's vain. Vanity. Let's look up that word. Let's look up that word vain. Hold on a second. So we can get we can see exactly what this is saying. V-A-I-N. Vain. Having having or showing an excessively high opinion of yourself and your appearance. That's what vain is. You have a high opinion of yourself and your high opinion of your appearance. That's being vain. It says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. It means you just have a high opinion of you'll be looking in the mirror all day long talking about how beautiful you are. That's vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Woman that fears the Lord shall be praised. Women who follow these scriptures shall be praised. Verse 31. Give her the fruit of her, give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. So she gets the fruit of her hands, which is the money of everything that she's sold and made and done. That's the fruit of her hands. Today will be her money. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. She don't have to say nothing. She don't have to be the most popular. Just from what she does, she's praised in the gates. Everybody recognizes she's virtuous from the work that she does. That's a virtuous woman. And that's why I was saying at the beginning, when it talks about the man, it doesn't, when he says that he should provide, it doesn't go into detail of what that means. So you have different interpretations of what that means, but a virtuous woman, it's step by step. It gives detail exactly what is expected of a virtuous woman. And like I said, all this work, this is a prophecy that King Lemuel's mother taught him. It's coming from a woman. Because she told her son, do not give your strength. What does it say in verse, hold on, let's read that again. Verse 31:3, give not thy strength unto a woman. That's a woman telling her son that. So let's read on. Let's jump to Titus. I'll explain what the virtuous woman is. So let's see, it even shows some more things that a woman is to do. So we have, let's see who we got on here. We got Maidana and we got Nayam. So I guess both of you guys would be considered aged women. I don't know if anybody else is on here, but I would assume that you two, I guess, would be considered aged women. You're not 20 years old anymore. So it says, Titus chapter 2, verse 3, the aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness. So your behavior should become holiness. Not false accusers, not given to much wine. Nobody likes a drunk. Nobody likes a drunkard. I'm sorry. Nobody likes a drunkard. I know. We have a lot of alcoholics running around, but nobody likes. I don't like a drunkard. Okay, I don't like it myself. So not given to much wine. Teachers of good things. You should be teaching good things. You shouldn't be drunk. And you shouldn't be false accusers, accusing people of stuff falsely when you don't have the facts. And your behavior has becometh holiness. Verse 4, that they may teach the young women. So the aged woman should be teaching the young women, the women in their 20s. If you're like 40 and up, you should be teaching women in their little teens and 20s, the young women, to be sober, to love their husbands. Women have to be taught how to love their husbands. The older women are supposed to teach the younger women how to love their husbands. Because obviously, according to the scripture, young women don't know how to love their husbands. You got to be taught how to do that. And to love their children. Obviously, young women don't know how to love their children. They have to be taught. The older women are supposed to teach the young women how to love their children. I guess some of these women think they're loving their kids, and they're probably. I've seen women that are monsters to their kid, thinking they love them. No, you have to be taught how to love your kids. You got to be taught how to love your husband. And how do you do that? And how do you learn that? From women who are married, who've been married for a while. They will teach you how to do that, how to act. Verse 5, to be discreet. I mean, discreet means, Let's look at the word just to see exactly what it means. Hold on. We get the exact definition. Discreet. I think that's how you spell it. Discreet, careful, and circumspect in one's speech or actions, especially in order to avoid causing offense or gain an advantage. So you don't want to offend, you want to talk in a way that's not offensive. So you're careful what you say. When you're discreet, you're careful what you say. Careful not to cause embarrassment or attract too much attention. That's being discreet. So, to be discreet. Chase. We know what chase is. It means keep your legs closed. Young women got to be taught how to do that. Keepers at home. They got to be learn how to do that, to keep their home. You got to be taught how to do that, to keep your home. I mean, your house shouldn't be all dirty. One thing I can't stand when you go to some woman's house and her house is a damn mess. It's ridiculous. How do you keep your home? Like, how I'm a man, how is my house cleaner than your house? How is that? How is your bathroom all messy and messed up? How's my bathroom cleaner than yours? I'm a man. How's my kitchen clean and yours is disgusting? Keepers at home. Good. Obedient to their own husbands. They got to be taught how to be obedient to your husbands. If you want to keep a husband, you got to be obedient to him. If you're going to try to be the man, most men are going to leave. They ain't going to want that. If you're always in his ear, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody likes that. Men don't like that. Bitches be quiet. If you think something going on or whatever, your emotions take over, just don't say nothing. Bite your tongue or something. Obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. When you put on that masculine spirit, the word of God is blasphemed. So, well, you know what? Got a couple, let me, I don't know if I should go into this. How much time we got? How much time has went by? Only a half hour have gone by. Isaiah 34. Isaiah 3. I don't know. I might go back to that one. Let's keep going. We're going to talk about some wise women. Isaiah 3. I might do that at the end. Let's keep going with some positive stuff here. Proverbs 14:1. Every wise woman buildeth her house. A wise woman will build her house up. What does that mean, to build your house? Does that mean actually get a hammer and nails and build a house? No. You got your furniture in there. You got your little curtains. You got your matching pots and pans. You got, your couches, everything matching. That's building up your house. But the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. A foolish woman will destroy everything that she's got. She'll get mad at her husband and destroy everything. That's a foolish woman does that. Destroys it all. He'll leave and marry somebody else and have another family while you're sitting there looking stupid. Because you pluck down your own house because you're foolish. You pluck down your own house. Proverbs 31:6. Salakia. 31:26. I think we already read this one. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. We already read that one. Proverbs 11:16. A gracious woman retaineth honor, and strong men retain riches. So a gracious woman, what is gracious? Let's see what gracious means. Let's look that word up. A gracious woman. Gracious. What does it mean to be gracious? Look that up. Gracious. Gracious is courteous, kind, and pleasant. Courteous, kind, and pleasant. That's what gracious means. So a courteous, kind, and pleasant woman retaineth honor, and strong men retain riches. So if you're a man, you retain your money. You don't just blow it. You keep your money. You retain those riches that you have. I'm going to read Proverbs 12:4 again. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness to his bones. So, okay, let's go to, I got scriptures on wicked women. Let's go to Isaiah 3. I was going to save that. Isaiah. Hold on. Let's find that. Isaiah, where are we at here? Isaiah chapter 3. I think we're going to start at verse... Let's start at verse 16. Verse 16. Isaiah 3 and 16. See anybody else chimed in here? No, it's the same too. That's okay. So, Isaiah chapter 3 verse 16. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty. So what does haughty mean? Let's look that word up. The daughters of Zion are haughty. Let's look that up. Haughty. Haughty means arrogantly superior and disdainful. They're arrogantly superior, or arrogance. And I know a lot of women, when they put that hair helmet on, you know what I'm saying, and the fake eyelashes, and all that fake stuff they put on, they turn into this arrogant, they become haughty. Arrogantly superior. And a lot of women, when they put that big wig on, that's exactly what they turn into. They turn haughty. I don't know what it is about that big wig they put on, but when women put that big wig on, boy, their whole personality changes. They become haughty, arrogantly superior, and disdainful. So it says, where was I? Here we go. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth neck. They got their nose in the air, which I can't stand. People walk around with their nose in the air. I can't stand it. With stretched forth neck and wanton eyes. Wanton eyes. What's that word wanton mean? Let's look that one up. Wanton eyes. We know what haughty means. Let's see what wanton eyes. Wanton. A-N-T-O-N. Wanton means cruel and violent, deliberate and unprovoked. Cruel and violent. They walk around with cruel, violent eyes. That's what wanton means. Wanton eyes. It's cruel and violent. They walk on with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord shall smite with a scab on the crown of her head, the daughters of Zion. Wonder why a lot of these black women have bald heads? Because the Lord has done smited them with a scab on the crown of their head. Crown of their head's right up here. That's why you got to put on wigs all the time. Because the daughters of Zion are haughty, disdainful, with wanton eyes, cruel eyes. They're cruel. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab on the crown of her head the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. And in that day, the day he strikes them with the scab on their head, in that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments. All that jewelry and fake stuff they got on. He's going to take because when they put, like I said, when a lot of women put that wig on, they're brave. They're ready to conquer the world. They're wanton eyes. They're haughty. He's going to take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet and their cows and around the tears like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets, the ornaments of the legs, all the things that she thinks makes her look good. He's going to take all that stuff away. The headbands, the tablets, the earrings, the rings, the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, all their nice clothes, the mantles, the whipples, and the crisping pins, the glasses, the fine linen, the hoods, and the veils. He's going to take everything that she thinks makes her beautiful, all that crap they put on, he's going to take it all away. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink. She ain't going to smell good. She's going to stink. What they call them? Stank hoes? He's going to take all that stuff away. And she's going to be a broke stank hoe. And it shall come to pass, that's verse 24, it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there should be stank. And instead of girdle, a rent. So the girdle is what makes their waist look tight. Instead of that, rent means you're going to have some raggedy ass clothes on. Some Goodwill stuff. And instead of well set hair, baldness. You're going to be bald headed. Instead of a nice set of a good hair, you're going to be bald. Bald headed. And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth. And burning instead of beauty. Burning means you'll be ugly. You won't be beautiful no more. You'll be ugly. Thy men shall fall by the sword. Means all the men that you had around you. Usually these type of women have men that orbit around them. They will fall by the sword. And thy mighty in the war. They'll fall. All the men that's been protecting you and following, they fall for these women. They'll fall by the sword. They'll be killed. And her gates shall lament and mourn. And she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. You'll be desolate with nothing. And you're going to sit on the ground. Like a homeless bag lady sitting out there on the ground. And in that day when all that happens, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. Because there's going to be so many of these women out there sitting on the ground with nothing. Ugly and stank with bald heads. And in that day, when that day happens, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread. We will eat our own food. And wear our own apparel. It means you don't have to do anything for us. We'll take care of ourselves. Only let us be called by thy name. Meaning they just want to be married to this man, this righteous man. All 7 of them will grab onto him. because without him, they're on the ground, sitting in the dirt, stink, bald-headed with some rags on. And let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. What does reproach mean? Let's look that up. Reproach. I used to know the definition of all these words. I can't remember them right offhand. We'll just look them up real quick. Reproach. Addressing somebody in a way to express disapproval or disappointment. An expression of disapproval or disappointment. Disapproval or disappointment. Oh shit, I'm gonna go here. Where was I at? Oh, over here. To take away our reproach, the Lord's disapproval of them. That's why they want these 7 women want this one righteous man, because he's the only one that could take the Lord's disapproval of them away. And in that day, what day is that? The day that the 7 women take hold of one man. In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious. The Lord said this is going to be a glorious thing when that happens. In that day, the branch of the Lord will be beautiful and glorious. When these 7 women grab hold of this one righteous man, and they grab him to take away the Most High's disdain for them, in that day, the Lord, it will be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even everyone that is written among the living in Jerusalem. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion. Again, when these 7 women take hold of one man, he said they'll eat their own bread and they'll wear their own clothes. They'll take care of themselves. All they want is to be called by his name to take away their reproach, their disdain, the Lord's disdain for them. And it says in verse 2 that this day, that when that day happens, it will be a glorious day for the Lord. It'll be glorious. It'll be glorious in verse 4 when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. So, I always liked that one right there. I like that. That's cool. So, looking at my scriptures right here, let's get into wicked women. Now I'm going to tell you the things that you are not to do. I told you what the virtuous woman was and what is expected, what the Lord expects of you. Now let's talk about the wicked women. These are the things that you don't want to be. If any of these attributes fit you, you got to fix these things. Ecclesiastes. I don't know if it's Ecclesiastes or Ecclesiasticus. I'm not really sure here. It might be the Ecclesiasticus. 7 verse 26. I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets. Means your heart is a trap. Remember King Lemuel's mother said, do not, what did she say? Do not Do not give all your strength to a woman. And I find it more bitter than death, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. I mean, they got you trapped and tied up. Whoso pleaseth the Lord, whoso pleaseth God, shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. These evil women. He who pleases God, he'll escape from this wicked woman. He'll get away from you. You wonder why some dude tried to leave you, got away from you? Hey, this might be the reason why. More bitter than death is a woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands is bands. Again, if you just become the virtuous woman, everybody's looking for that. You don't have to worry about having a husband. If you're virtuous, somebody's going to recognize that and grab you. Or if you're just a haughty woman with wanton eyes, you're gonna have to lose everything first, and then find one man. You got to share with seven women to one man, and you just want him to take away your reproach. I mean, you got those are two options that you have as a woman. And a sinner shall be taken by her. First Ezra, chapter 4, verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for a woman, and become servants for their sakes. A lot of men out there serve women. They go to work all day and run home and give their paycheck to them. They serve women. They bow to everything they say. There's a lot of men do that. Yea, many there have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sakes. They become servants for women. Whatever she wants, she gets. They become her servant. Many men. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for a woman. Many men have done all these things for women. Oh, here's one. Proverbs 7 and 10. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot, and subtle of heart. Attire of a harlot. You know what attire of a harlot is? She's dressed like a hoe. And subtile of heart. Let's see what subtle means. Subtile. Let's get the exact definition of that, so we can correctly understand what's being said here. Subtile. Not sure if that's spelled right. Subtle. Where are we at here? Elusive. I don't have very good definitions. Let me get into this one. I don't have very good definitions here. Okay, let's see. Hold on. What does subtle mean in the Bible? Damn. Gotta really go deep into this. I'll just give a definition. Here we go. What do we got? Subtle. Deceit. Fraud. Deceit and fraud is subtle. So, it says, deceit and fraud. So it says, and behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot and subtle of heart. Means her heart was deceitful and she was a fraud. She was conning him. And she was dressed like a harlot. Got the fishnet stockings on and cleavage showing and little booty shorts. You know the type. High heels on. You know the type. Bunch of makeup, big old gigantic eyelashes, looking huge. The big ass hair helmet wig. You know the type. The woman, she's at the attire of a harlot and subtle of heart. She is loud and stubborn. A woman with the attire of a harlot and subtle of heart is loud and stubborn. You don't want to be loud and stubborn, arguing with everything. Got opinion against everything. You say the light, you say the daylight, you say it's daylight, she got to argue that it's night and be loud. Now she is without. Now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. She's without. What is she without? One, she's without a husband. She lieth and she lies in wait. She's waiting for another sucker to come by. And she can be loud and obnoxious too. Proverbs 7:20. That was Proverbs 7 and 10 and 12. Let's jump down to Proverbs 25, 7 and 25. Let not thy heart decline in her ways. Go not astray in her paths. For she hath cast down many wounded. Yea, many strong men have been slain by her. She done corrupted many men. She done burned and used up many men. Because she got the attire of a harlot and deceit in her heart. And a lot of guys fall for that. That's why it's important to know what a virtuous woman is. Her house is in the way to hell. What was that? Oh. Her house is in the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. You get hooked up with her, it's just a quick way to hell. You're gonna be in hell with her. Ezekiel 16:44. This one here is a trip too. Behold, everyone that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, which means against you. Wicked woman. Not the virtuous woman. It's for the wicked woman. Behold, everyone that useth this proverb shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is the daughter. Why does it say that? We talked about in Titus that the aged woman is supposed to teach the younger woman how to love their husband, love their kids, and be virtuous and be a good woman. But if your mother's a harlot with subtle at heart, a deceitful heart, behold, everyone that uses the proverbs. So what do you think she's going to teach her daughter? As is the mother, so is her daughter. Verse 45, thou art thy mother's daughter, that loatheth her husband. You learn that from your mother. You hate your husband, most likely your mother taught you that, according to the scriptures. Thou art thy mother's daughter, and loatheth her husband and her children. You hate your children? As is the mother, so is her daughter. Most likely your mother hated you. Loatheth her husband and her children, and thou art the sister of thy sisters, which loatheth her husbands and their children. Your mother was a Hittite, and your father an Ammonite. Of course, that's an insult, talking about your mother and your father. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 25, verse 23. And these are some good scriptures right here. I like reading these. A wicked woman abateth the courage. What does abateth mean? Abateth. What is that? Let's see. Let me get out of that one. Let's go back here. Abateth. Abateth. What is that? I should have wrote these down. Abateth. I think I spelled that right. Abateth means to decrease. Abate means to decrease in force or intensity. To decrease in force and in intensity. So let's see what that said over here. Oh, wait, where was I at? Oh, my bad. Got to go back here. It says, a wicked woman abateth the courage, decreases his courage. A wicked woman will decrease his courage, maketh a heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A countenance is your facial expression. You know, well, she'll make you, a wicked woman to make you walk around looking all sad. And a wounded have a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Makes a man weak. If you can't comfort your husband in distress, it makes his hands weak and feeble knees. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. Means if you got a wicked woman, you can't let her loose. You can't let her loose. If you have if a man's watching this, you have the misfortune of being married to a wicked woman, you cannot let her. You got to tighten the reins on her, because if she gets out there, she's gonna do all kind of crazy stuff. Because you got to remember, it says, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all died. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 26, verse 7. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. Having an evil wife is like having a yoke around your neck, and it's just shaking you to and fro. Not good for a man to have an evil wife. He that hath hold of her is as though he held a scorpion. So when you got this evil wife and you're holding her, it's like you have a scorpion. When that scorpion hits you, it's that poison is going to shoot into you. You got to watch that thing. When you hold a scorpion, you got to be careful. Because when that tail hits you, that poison is going to come inside you. So you got to be very careful handling a scorpion. You can handle a scorpion. Like a wicked woman, an evil woman, you can handle her, an evil wife. But it's like holding a scorpion. You got to watch that thing. You got to make sure that thing don't hit you. That little tail that comes out. Broop, broop, broop. You got to be careful that thing don't hit you. Ecclesiasticus 26 and 8. A drunken woman is a gadder abroad and causes great anger. Gadder. What is gadder? Got all these words here. I gotta look them up. I should be writing the definitions down, but I'll do it later. Gadder. Gadder. What does a gadder mean? Gadder. One that travels about habitually, restlessly, or with chiefly social purposes. So she's always out in nightclubs all day, out with her girlfriends. That's gadder abroad. She's always out running the streets. A drunken woman and a gadder abroad causes great anger. That's what she's always out in the streets with her friends or whatever she's doing, out in clubs. She's out in the streets all the time. She's the wicked woman, and she's a drunkard, a drunken woman. Gadder abroad causes great anger, And she will not cover her own shame because she's out there drunk, out in the streets drunk. She won't cover her shame. 26 and 9. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. We already described what haughty was. What was haughty again? Haughty was arrogant. Arrogant. A whoredom of a woman may be known by her haughty looks, her little arrogancy, and her eyelids. The big old gigantic eyelids. The big eyelashes. And her arrogancy. That's how you can tell the whoredom of a woman. (26). Let's jump down to verse 12. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he has found a fountain. I mean, this is self-explanatory. I don't have to go deep into that. And drink of every water near her. By every hedge, she'll sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. I mean, we don't have to get too graphic in that one. But I think you get the gist of what they're saying here. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he had found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge she will sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. That was verse 12. Let's jump down to verse 23. Ecclesiasticus 26 and 22. Let's go to 22. A harlot shall be accounted as spittle. What is spittle? That's what spittle is. That's what she'll be counted as. Some spittle. Spit. A harlot shall be accounted as spittle. But a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. Verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. So you wonder why some of these men got wicked women or women got wicked men? Because this verse right here, a wicked woman is given to a portion to a wicked man. So every time I hear about a woman who's got this guy that's supposed to be so bad and horrible because a wicked woman is given to a wicked man. You're with a wicked man because you're wicked. You're with a righteous man because you're righteous. A wicked woman is given portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. It's the scriptures. A dishonest woman condemneth shame. So you're dishonest, you like to lie, cheat, and steal, you condemn shame. But an honest woman will reverence her husband. An honest woman will reverence her husband. What does reverence mean? Let's look that word up. Reverence. What does it mean to reverence your husband? Look that up. Reverence. Reverence means deep respect for someone or something. To regard or treat with deep respect. So having reverence means you deeply respect him. A dishonest woman condemns shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband, and he'll give him deep respect. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog. And of course, what's a female dog? I don't have to use the terminology. We all know what that is. A shameless woman will be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord. What is shamefaced? Look that word up. Let's get these words together here. I should have had the definition of these words a long time ago. Shamefaced. Feeling or expressing shame or embarrassment. Showing modesty. Bashful. Modest and bashful. That's being shamefaced. You're modest and bashful. That's how what was that? A shameless woman shall be counted as dog, but she that is shamefaced, modest and bashful, will fear the Lord. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise above all, but she that dishonors him in her pride will be counted ungodly of all. Means in your pride, if you do something wicked to your husband because you're being proud, you're treated as being ungodly of all. A loud crying woman, a woman with a big mouth, always arguing, loud crying woman. And a scold shall be sought out to drive away the enemies. So if you got some bill collector, that's all she's good for, chasing away bill collectors. Because she's loud and nobody want to talk to her. So you got a bill collector coming to your house, that's about the only thing she's good for. Loud crying woman. Oh yeah. In 2 Ezra 16:49. Like as a whore envieth a right honest and virtuous woman. A whore will envy a virtuous woman. So she's going to talk about you. If you're a virtuous woman, a right, virtuous, shamefaced woman, a whore is going to envy you. Let me see what the rest of that says. 2 Ezra 16:49. I don't think I have all of it. Let's go here. 2 Ezra. Where we at? 2 Ezra, what is it? 16:49. Where we at? 2 Ezra 16:49. Okay, I didn't have all of it. It says, like as a whore envieth a right, honest, and virtuous woman, so shall righteousness hate iniquity. Righteousness hate iniquity means sin. Like righteousness hates sin, that's how a whore envies a virtuous woman. When she decketh herself, and shall accuse her to her face, when she cometh, that shall defend him that diligently searcheth out every sin upon earth. And therefore be not like thereunto, nor to the works thereof. For yet a little, and iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth, and righteousness shall reign among you. Okay, where are we at here? Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiasticus 41:10. In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren. What I got that one in there? Let's go to Ecclesiastes 42:10. Let's read let me see what that is. Ecclesiasticus 14:10. Ecclesiasticus, where are we at? Sirach, where's Sirach? Oh, here's Ecclesiasticus 14:10. What is that about? Was that Ecclesiasticus 14:10? Hold on a minute. Oh, 42 and 10. Ecclesiasticus 42 and 10. See what that is. Okay, let's start it. Let's start at 8, I guess. It says, "Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish, and the extreme aged that contendeth with those that are young. Thus shalt thou be truly learned and approved of all men living. The father waketh for the daughter, when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep, when she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated. In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude." "Behold not everybody's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women." "For from garments cometh a moth, and from women cometh wickedness." Yeah. See, some of these I already did. And of course, Proverbs 9:13, "A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple, knowing nothing." Clamorous. What does clamorous mean? Clamorous. 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 Making loud and confused noise. That's what clamorous means. Loud and confused noise. So a foolish woman is clamorous. She makes a loud and she's confusing and loud. She is simple, knowing nothing. So, went over the scriptures of those of wicked women. I went over the scriptures of virtuous women. And I went over the scriptures of wicked women. And I think that's I think I'm gonna end the class here with that. I gave you lots of scriptures, something to think about. Hopefully you wrote these scriptures down. You can look at them later. So we're gonna end this class right now. And if you don't have these scriptures written down, go back over this class and write these scriptures down. You can put them in your precept book. I'll give you a whole lot of scriptures for your precept book. So write these scriptures down in your precept book. Shalom.